We changed the format for today's class because we had some events happen on a job site that made me realize that this job safety briefing, the importance of it. So we're going to go over some things. I'm going to talk about the 2-minute drill, the TOPI tools and traps, and we're going to have Derek go through a briefing, and afterwards we're going to discuss some things we faced on this job. Everyone should have a 2-minute drill card. With this card, it should help guide your questioning attitude. Are you at the proper location? Do you have all the equipment that you need? Look around the work area 360 degrees. Think about where you're going to park your vehicle and cone it off. Are the conditions as expected and as briefed? Do you have the correct PPE, tools, and instructions? Are the hazards and housekeeping issues mitigated? Are all the energy sources removed and isolated? What is the best body positioning for the task? What are the task-specific stop work criteria? Are required flagging and barriers in place? Identify your TOPI traps and TOPI tools to mitigate. We should also have a TOPI tools and TOPI trap card on the other side of the 2-minute drill. With the TOPI tools, we need to do a self-check, have a questioning attitude, a peer check, a second check, procedures, a post-job review, effective communication, and a critical step check. Some of the TOPI traps are going to be time pressure, mental stress and fatigue, distractions, overconfidence, vague guidance, peer pressure, physical environment, and multitasking. When we arrived on the site to complete this job, the line crew had been out there about 2 hours before us, building the transformers and making all the connections. So we decided to have a little job briefing on our own to go over some of the tools and traps that we might be facing. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Derek give the job safety briefing. All right, we're gonna do a tailboard this morning on a 3-pot bank 12208. Go ahead, Derek.
So, got the address, job description where we're doing install. Got closest hospital, the address. Checking off general hazard assessment checklist, housekeeping, pinch points, proper lifting, uneven surface terrains. It's a little muddy out here. Equipment rigging and failures as we're going overhead with it. We got tripping hazards, debris. Trucks and vehicles, tools and rigging, pre-flight bucket check, because they're already in the bucket. First aid kits, hard hats, safety glasses, all the usual. So we're installing new metering equipment overhead, potential hazards for falls, drops. Stand clear and they're working overhead. You don't want to walk underneath. Get a hold right on the head. It wouldn't hurt you. Wiring the CTs and test switches. So we got potential hazards. Just wiring the switches. Just wiring the CTs. If we got to communicate properly, make sure everything's active. Pretty much, we're going to test the voltage, currents, and vectors after we get all hooked up. And some of the human performance tools, self-checks. Just double check after yourself. Make sure you're doing everything right. Question attitude, if y'all see something that's not quite right or not being safe, stop everything, ask questions, make suggestions, effective communication, coordinate with the line crew, make sure they're wiring up the CT properly, make sure they're connecting the voltage, matching everything up. Peer check. Have a teammate, somebody close to the situation, checking behind you, make sure you're reconnecting everything right. Go through the actual switch, make sure everything's tight, make sure all the wires are circulated properly, even from the factory. Give them a little pull, make sure they're tight and everything. And 46, that's about it. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Anybody got anything to add? All right.
The job was completed, and we had checked all the connections with the lineman and made sure all the phases went through the same CT and all. We had to ground the meter can, but there was no ground rod. So we had to request the lineman to set us a ground rod so we can attach our meter can to it. There was discussion about taking the neutral and just going to the meter can itself, and that is not acceptable. So we made sure that we stepped up and told the lead lineman that we needed to have a ground rod so that we could ground our can. After hooking up the meter can to the ground rod, we told the lineman that we were ready to heat up the site. And they threw the fuses in. When they threw in the third fuse, we heard a loud explosion and the fuse popped open. So the whole job was then shut down, and we had to go back and look and see what was going on that was wrong. And we went by the breaker panel, and I was expecting to see things burned up in it, but I didn't see anything burned up or smell anything burned. And then when we walked out to look at the weatherhead, we can see right here in this diagram that the weatherhead was taped red, white, and blue, and one of them was black. Well, we didn't know this, but the linemen that were on location were all new linemen, and they were letting them do all these connections because they were dead. And they just assumed that it was red, white, and blue was the three hot legs, when really the hot legs were the red, the black, and the blue. The white was actually the ground. So they had put a hot leg to the white wire, and that's what blew the fuse. Nothing was damaged from what we could see inside the building, but this is a hazardous situation, and this should have been caught before this was heated up. I'm not sure if they did a tailboard. I'm not sure what they did. I know we did our tailboard and did what we were supposed to do, but these are the kind of things that, being experts in our field, if we can not only do our job, but kind of oversee what the others are doing, we might catch things like this before something can happen or somebody could get killed, because someone could have got killed. If somebody was on that neutral or on that ground in that building working or touching anything metal in that building that was grounded, they would have got shocked.